And I think there's a snobbishness with reading books. They are a bit outdated. They're a little bit like playing the spoons and tap dancing and the theatre. They were good once, but things have moved on.
The head's not quite on the right place. That's his little issue that he's got to work on for the moment.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Look, I'm all for innovation, and I advocated putting a scrum half in the line out. It sounds great, but it's bollocks idea, really.
Hello and welcome to Under the Sticks, a podcast brought to you by Pro 14 Rugby, as we are every week. My name is Andy McGeady. With me today I have Mr. Paul Williams. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We've got like real famous people on the show today. Sean Holly, how are you?
Okay, Anne, thanks. Can I start the show by announcing a heartfelt apology to all my Irish friends, in fact, to the whole of the Irish nation. I was commentating on Saturday night on the Scarlets Leinster, and I referred to Tag Furlong as a British lion.
This was mentioned to me in passing.
This was a particularly heinous crime. It was born out of excitement, just being freezing cold, just spur of the moment. It wasn't intentional. I didn't use the whole vernacular, and rightly so, of British and Irish lion, of which he is with distinction. So I apologise unreservedly to everybody. I won't get it wrong again.
Good man.
Okay, so we'll see what our viewers and commenters. So we are going out as always on the Pro 14 social channels across Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I've got some regulars in already. Harley Worthy, how are you? James O'Brien, Rugby Mum Glasgow, Howell Davis, Deirdre Jenkins, Mero DeMarco. As always, from Pembrokeshire, West Wales, Michael Jenkins, and it's pouring rain, as I think it always is. We'll rattle through because we have to get someone in fairly quick here tonight. We will be talking to Andy Friend. Connacht coach has signed on for another 2 years. He's going to join us for a quick chat. He's also one of the nominees for the Loch Lomond Whiskies Coach of the Month, which is a new award. We'll be going through the nominees for that. We'll be going through the games that we had last weekend. Again, this is bonus rugby time. And we'll be going through the game next weekend. And if we have time, and we might not, because we've a lot to do tonight, we will touch on the Six Nations. But also in the comment section, let us know what you want to touch on, and we'll get there at the end of the show. So how was your weekend, lads? Was it happier, Paul? Was it happier than being a Bath member of the Bath defence? Was it?
Oh my God, what a nightmare that was! Do you know, I tried to be so tactful on Twitter when not mentioning those players who just opened the door. And I know Semi Redrada is ridiculous playing, and I know when he steps, and I know that player in the outside moved outside the player who should have tackled him. But you've got to do better than that, and I think he knows who he is.
But it was great. I mean, this is one where you have to appreciate that clip on multiple levels, because there's the level on which you're just looking at it and going, that is hilarious. There's the level on which you're going, Semi Radradra is ridiculous. There's the level at which people broke it down and going like, this is how this play happened. It was not by accident, and it's actually really good the way Hughes takes someone out, and what Joseph does isn't quite as weird as you think. But then you go back to the first reaction, which was, it's hilarious.
Yes,
and
that's
I'll
right.
stick to that. Sean, I loved it.
You got saloon doors, haven't you? You've got saloon doors which sort of go like that. You haven't got saloon doors that break off and jump out of the way. I thought it was disgraceful. I mean, Radradra, nobody wants him running at you full tilt, but then, it was pretty embarrassing. But, the way he then looked up, saw the last offender and thought, I'm just going to put my foot down here and glide past. It was amazing. Do you know the annoying thing as well, though, was that I think Hugo Monia picked it up, is that Bath kept restarting straight down his throat. Now
why would you do that?
Well, we've got a clip coming up later on of Guinness Pro 14 expertise, and I'll explain a bit more there, because the kicks weren't good enough. But it was ridiculous. It was a mismatch, wasn't it? I struggle to watch Bristol sometimes because they play and play and play, and I get frustrated. And I'm in Pat's seat, and I'm thinking, oh God, they're gonna, but they just back themselves. And the second reason is, I whenever I watch them, I think, what might have been.
Pause, because we're going to bring in some expertise. Andy Friend is going to join us right about now.
Here we go.
Friend, how are you?
How are you, fellas?
Hey, Ant.
Good to see you all.
And you, mate.
You're looking very comfortable in Galway, as you seem to be, because you've signed on for 2 more years.
Oh, yeah, it's nice here, mate. Well, it's actually bucketing down rain as we speak, but that is Galway, isn't it? But it's not raining in this room, so I'm very comfy.
This is where we hand the keys over to Sean, because we're going to get more out of this if an actual coach talks through this, eh, Sean?
Oh, come on. I mean, well, firstly, and well done. Recent performance has been fantastic, and the new contract. I mean, doing a great job there, mate. And in particular, and we spoke about this before, you can see the culture that you're sort of developing there. There's a lot of pride and passion in those players. They're playing for you. It's great to see. And then perhaps for the first question to ask is, how did you beat the Invincibles? How did you beat Leinster? And has there been a hangover since, a couple of home defeats?
Yeah, it's a great question, Sean. In terms of the hangover, there physically hasn't been a hangover because we haven't been able to party, we haven't been able to do anything, have we? So there's none of that happening, mate. How did we beat them? Well, listen, a few things happened on that night. It was a really bizarre week for us. We actually selected that team 4 times because we selected at the front end of the week, and then we had some COVID cases, and then we had to readjust, and then we had some close contacts. We had to readjust again. And then we actually got to the day of the game, and as we got off the bus in Dublin, Kieran Marmion slipped on a bit of ice and tweaked his back, so we had to pull him out at the last minute too. So if there was ever a game when you thought, well, we're going to battle winning this, it was probably that one. But maybe with that release of pressure and just saying to the boys, fellas, we got nothing to lose and everything to gain, out you go. And from the outset, they just went out there, and I just thought our intent and our line speed was phenomenal. And Jack Hardy got that first intercept, and everything sort of went on from there. So a really pleasing performance. But that's our one win out of about 7 performances of late. Our performance has been okay, but we just haven't been able to get the W. So lovely to get that one. But that doesn't stop our own belief and belief in not only ourselves and our systems, but belief in what we're about and the way we're building. So it's exciting for me to be able to sign on for another 2 more years and hopefully keep them going in the right direction.
Brilliant. I mean, there was a similarity early in the season. I think it was Edinburgh away. Boys played really well, and I was looking at that, and I said on the pod to the boys, look out for these. They're just playing superb with belief, And then that was the element in obviously the Leinster victory. I want to ask you about that Ospreys game. They've turned a bit of a corner. We know how difficult it is to go to Galway. I know how difficult it is to go to Galway, but did you see anything in there, man, that suggests that they have turned a corner? Were they more difficult to deal with?
Yeah, watching their last 4 or 5 games, they're definitely a team on the up. And we actually talked about the influence of a Toby Booth and a Brock James. So you got on one side the Toby Booth who loves to play. You can see that in the teams he's previously coached. On the other side, you've got the game smarts and the game awareness of a Brock James. So that they've got this blend at the moment, and I think that their individual, their stars are playing good footy. So we knew it was always going to be a tough match. As you know, it was a postponed game. When we were meant to play them, they weren't meant to have their internationals. Which again, are they an easier team to play then? Possibly, but we don't have our internationals either. So when the game was offered to us, we knew they were coming fully loaded. But the other part of that was, well, if we want to be the best footy team we want to try and be, well, we got to play the best. So bring it on, fellas. We're ready for it. And I actually thought we were fortunate to go into halftime 17-5 up. I thought it was a much closer battle than that, but we did. And then we had Tipuric in the bin. So for me, it was our game to lose, and we somehow managed to do that, which was really frustrating. But a credit, I will say, to the Ospreys. There is a lot of belief in that side, and I think they're a side that's getting better each week.
Cool. Cool.
Can I pull in a comment here, Sean?
Yeah.
We got one from Ewan Davies. Connacht deserve the Pro 14 for the weather they have to play in every winter and manage to play attractive rugby.
That's so right.
It's insane. Because Sean, we talked about asking Andy about this.
Yeah, well, I asked him last time about the wind machine. Is it still working? Because going over there, they seem to switch it on at half time. But, it is difficult out there because the location, but you do play with such openness. And is that something you just instill in the boys, is play heads up and you're looking to attack?
Yeah, well, we do. I think it's part of I'll call it the Connacht DNA. It is part of their fabric. When they won that championship in 15, 16, that was the style of footy they were playing. They were playing a really open brand of rugby. But it's only when you get to Galway and you realise how harsh the conditions are, you actually realise how skillful these blokes are. We went to Paris earlier on, in December to play Racing, and here we are now on an artificial surface under a roof, and the boys are like, "How good's this?
Like a dream."
This is unbelievable." And we actually played a really good brand of footy that day too, and we were close to, we were miles behind, and then Alex Wooten got an intercept, and we scored another good try. And shy of the last few minutes, we were camped in their 22, and it would have been the world's biggest upset. Well, for us, it would have anyway, but we didn't get there. But the bloke said afterwards, I said, and we actually train at the minute. We've been doing a little bit of training on an artificial field, and the boys sort of saying, this pitch is a little bit narrow, isn't it? I said, no, it's not. It's the same width, but because you got to dry a ball and there's no wind, like you can zing it another 3-4 meters each year. So, what would normally take you 8 passes to get across the field takes you 6 now. So it's not, it's not a shorter pitch. It's not a more narrow pitch. So they are heavily, really, really skillful blokes. There's a great attitude and a great fabric to Connacht rugby, which I love, and hopefully I'm able to continue to support that and keep that exciting brand of footy, albeit with the conditions, keep that going.
Now, obviously, still a bit to go in the next few rounds. But what we wanted to ask you, Anne, was what's your thoughts on playing those South African teams in whichever guise it might be with COVID, but they come in, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, again, that's another brilliant challenge, isn't it? Like, this is where I reckon the Pro 14 is such a unique competition, because you're crossing 4 borders, and now it's going to be 5 borders, and every border has a different brand of footy. And actually within our 4 boundaries, or within our border, within our 4 provinces, there's 4 different brands of footy there too. And now you're going to get the might of the South Africans and their physicality. And for little old Connacht, we go, Jesus, that's going to be tough. We're going to have to run those buggers around. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to try and arm wrestle them, as you can't. So you'll see a different style of footy coming out from us there, and it's going to be difficult. But as I said there before, the reason we want to take on the Ospreys at their best and any South African teams, because every time we play someone who's better than us, it's going to make us better. So we're looking forward to it.
Right. Well, and before you go, look, you've got the contract extension, which is fantastic. We're delighted to have you in the Guinness Pro 14. We've seen Connacht topple Leinster. You're running sides close and playing a great brand of rugby. I think it's every supporter's favourite second team. I know it's mine. I shouldn't say that, but it's mine. I suppose that begs the question: what's your vision? What's your vision now for Connacht? Without just saying I want to win the Guinness Pro 14 in a wider context.
Well, we Connacht have been talking in the last couple of years about the redevelopment of the sports ground, and to me, that's paramount for the success of Connacht rugby. Namely, for two big reasons. Number one, just to improve our facilities. So we may well get a 4G pitch, which I think would be brilliant for our brand of footy. It would be good. I don't think we've got the cash yet for the roof over the top of it, unless we get a private backer. Give us your phone number. And then the second part of that, which is really important, is a bigger stadium. And with a bigger stadium, we get more supporters. And our fan base is fantastic. So at the minute, at max capacity, we're just under 8,500 people. But if we could get that to 12,000 people, now there's a bit more cash. There's a bit more money to go out there and buy potentially better players, or more homegrown players, or more ready-made players. We tend to buy the rough diamond, which we actually pride ourselves on, and we want to polish him up. So, for me, the big vision for Connacht rugby is let's get this redevelopment happening. The money's been promised there by the government. COVID's put a little bit of a hold on that, but hopefully in 12 months to 18 months time, that's going to happen. And then, the West will explode again, let's hope, and rugby can take over.
Outstanding
Paul,
stuff.
Paul, you're a rough diamond. You should get in here.
I was going to. It's not a question. It's more of an apology, because I've become a massive fan of Connor over the last 6 months. And normally, when I predict good things for a team, they tend not to win again for the rest of the season. So I just like to offer my apologies now, Andy. And if it does go wrong, you can blame me from this point forth.
No, that sounds like my horse betting too, mate. If I back a horse, it ain't going to win. So, listen, we all have those, mate. But listen, great to have you on board as a supporter. We got Dragons on Friday night. That'll be another good game. So off to Rodney Parade to take those boys on, and as they are, we're looking for W. And it should be a great game of footy.
Right, yeah. We'll let Andy go with a little note here from Elizabeth Hackett in the comments. Hello from a wet Galway. We really miss being at the sports ground. We dress for the weather. Thanks for sticking with us, Andy. Stronger and green, Connacht debut. Well said, Elizabeth. Andy, thanks very much for joining us.
Good on you, fellas.
Good to see you, mate.
Thanks, Andy.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Right, so what I'm hearing is, right, all roofers in Galway, right, get a load of scaffolding.
Square foot each 12 months.
What about the dogs? The dogs still be at the track or what?
Big roof. Roof. Right.
That'd be big dog meets as well then.
Do you know what? Do you know what though? If they get a synthetic pitch, that'll transform the rugby again that they play. I mean, it's entertaining now when it's not that wet and windy. Imagine that on synthetic.
I will say it will be. There's always a thing with 4G pitch, right? Can you imagine there's no roof, it's open with 4G and that wind and it's wet. That kind of bounce, it will be crazy. But you know what? I'm up for it. I am up for it.
It's double edged as well, isn't it? Because we've all seen that home advantage has been not neutralized completely, but there's been a lot of away wins. We because of the lack of crowds and this, that, and the other. So, whenever you had Connacht in the fixture, you're always like, oh God, I hope the weather's going to be. I make a joke about the wind machine, but it is windy, it's open, and it's difficult to manage. If you're used to that every other week and you're brought up in that region, then you maybe know the nuances of how to play a little bit more. Having a new stadium, new pitch, and that might just take that away a little bit. So he's going to need to develop that expansive style, isn't he?
That's interesting. I'd say it was really interesting listening to him talking about the South Africans, and that they're not even going to not even take them on up front. Well, that's quite a clever move. They're going to be bringing a lot heavier forwards over, aren't they? You're not going to be able to shut that down. Like he says, move them around.
Yeah.
Let's go into the weekend's games. We had two games. It turned into a very entertaining day of rugby. Benetton 16, Munster 18. And if you, someone on this pod, had to exit stage after 10 minutes to do something family related, you reckoned easy Munster win, tidy. Sean, that didn't happen.
No, it didn't. And at this stage, that's a calamitous bit of play from Haywood. You'd think, oh right, and then they get another try. I think this is it. It's calamitous stuff from Benetton, and you think, well, this is exactly what you need when you're Munster, right? Losing your internationals. This is exactly what you need. 12-0 after 9 minutes. You're thinking, thank you very much. But like you said, Anne, they've probably gone mentally and made a cup of tea, because don't discount anybody in this Guinness Pro 14. Fair play to Benetton. They've had a topsy-turvy season. They've struggled, haven't they? And they sort of clawed their way back into the game. Yellow cards, that was the prop. But, this is what we were used to seeing a year or two ago. I thought Marco Barbini had a good, solid game. Tommy Allen, I did okay at 10. I thought we had Esposito on the wing who's going to score this try now, who all of a sudden has found a little bit of his mojo. Now Monte Ioane's hit the straps. Anyway, look, Tommy Allen to the line. Lovely little play. Good finish, Esposito. Yeah. And it was game on. But what's my old adage about the guys in
no
guys in red, boys?
Never bet again. Do you know, I think what was interesting is they turned the game around on the deck after about 20 minutes. Treviso started attacking the ground, won a lot of ball. Mike Haley had two very unusual moments. He carried the ball into touch once, then he passed the ball over Sweetenham's head into touch, and then he pulled off tackle of the season, which we may have
come back. We'll come back to that. We are going to focus on that for a number of different reasons. We might see it. Here we go.
That's a nice try, that is. Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
I coached Tommaso Benvenuti. We had him at Bristol for a little bit. I struggled with him a bit. You know, he was such a good international player, but wait, just go low for the slide in the corner there, Tommaso.
Yeah. What tackle that is?
Pause for a second, folks, because for the people who didn't see that at home, here we go. So the ball comes out. Benetton have had a sustained period of pressure, and actually they score with Sarto not too long after this. But the ball comes out from Hayward to Benvenuti on the left-hand side. He's got about 4 or 5 yards to play with to his left. He keeps the ball in his right-hand side towards Haley, and Haley brilliantly just goes for the ball and lets Benvenuti fall on him. It's a brilliant piece of skill.
The thing is, if you stick a fend up there, that's try.
That's the only way Haley's going to stop him is if Benvenuti chooses to do that. Because on the impact, he's probably above the try line. You know what I mean?
Yes.
All he needs to do is go low. You know, that's all he needs to do. So it's cost them. It has cost them, unfortunately. Yeah. But, you know, they came back again, you know, despite that. You know, they had their tails up. You know, you go into 8 minutes to go, only 4 points in it, and bumper, they go over in the corner, 16-15. Now, at this point, you're thinking, surely they can hang on.
40 seconds to go. They have the ball in the Munster 22, and it is under control. And then bad things start to happen.
And then this.
Culminating with Nick McCarthy's absolute bullet of a pass back to JJ Hanrahan, who absolutely nails that drop goal. Very, very Munster, Sean Halley.
It is. You never. I promise you, I don't back against Munster, even with 40 seconds on the clock and 90 meters to go. And that's the reason why, because they have a culture. It's ingrained in them. A, never to give up. B, you know, it's not a lost cause. It's not a lost cause. And you're right about McCarthy, and Paul, you're right about Haley. I did my team of the week, and I had Haley in there. Now, Munster fans will be screaming at me this week because he gets a lot of stick from Munster fans. He does a lot of silly, sort of stupid things, but he does have attributes. You know, he made the most meters. He was good in the air, and then that try-saving tackle probably saved them the game. So he went in there, and then Nick McCarthy, and I think, you know, behind now Conor Murray and Casey, he steps up. He's probably cold as ice. He hasn't played for ages. He was brilliant. He was really good. You know, on for 80.
It looks like he's going to go back to Leinster now as well. So
and do you know what? And a special shout out for JJ Hanrahan, because he's missed a few pressure kicks in the last 4 weeks, right? And if I'd have been having that ball there for the drop goal, my nuts would have frozen. But fair play to him. He's
streaky. JJ Hanrahan has all of the talent. And he is streaky. So this is the old maxim: never bet against the men in grey. Because I can't let that go. I cannot let that go. I switched it on. I was going, what? No. Anyway, pet peeves. Is there anything else we want to pick up from that game other than it is great to see? I do want to mention one thing. Callum Brayley. Callum Brayley, I thought, was really, really good at keeping that tempo going, because Benetton, they really tried to play fast. They took quick throw-in after a quick throw-in and were zipping that ball around, and they were backing themselves. There was some handling in that game that was genuinely
and
good.
You know, talking of handling, the one thing before we move on, Treviso executed a beautiful line-out move on the Munster 5 metre line straight to the inside centre, and you don't often see that happen, and it's even rarer you see it come off. It was amazing.
It was worth a few looks at that, because it looked as if they mistimed everything, but then when you looked at the replay, you're going, they actually faked everyone, because they did a lift. And
you could tell You could tell by the speed Brax was coming onto that ball. That wasn't always coming over the top. That's coming over the top.
Hookers love those. Hookers love those because there's no pressure. They can just release their arms and throw it over the top. You know, it's used a lot on your own 5 meters, isn't it? But the stats show there were 26 clean breaks by Benetton compared to 12 from Munster. So it's showing a couple of things for me. It's showing that that Benetton are coming back. You know, that look at the possession, clean breaks, defenders beaten, 26, not clean breaks, 26 to 12. Look at the offloads. So their brand of rugby, at some point, we're just talking to Andy Friend, at some point they're going to beat someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to shock somebody by playing that brand, and look forward to seeing that. But then Munster show when the stats are against you, and you play a different style of game, you can still grind out the win.
Look at that tackle count. So you could tell where the game swung after about 20 minutes. 181 to 86 tackles. Yeah. That's sort of New Zealand playing Tonga type level.
I had a note on this, watching this game back. Benetton lived almost in the Munster 22 for a huge portion of this game. Huge. Like after let's say about the 18th minute until the Sarto try, Munster hardly get out of their half. It's extraordinary to watch it back. But well done, Benetton. While we're on Italian things, and we did talk about Bortolami, the coaching change. There's also been a couple of other additions. Andrea Massi is joining them from Wasps, which is a very interesting move. And then also Paul Gustard. That popped up on LinkedIn. You're going,
I wrote about that in my Rugby World column, about how he used the offensive channel this week rather than the defensive channels. It's such a lovely way to get around the media, though. You can pop anything you like on LinkedIn. And
who had 26 minutes on the Williams mentions his column.
It's 26 minutes is not bad, is it?
Pretty good.
It wasn't even my Pro 14 column, it was the Rugby World one.
We move to Wales, where the great and the good of Welsh commentary was in action. We're talking about Eddie Butler. Sean was also there.
Well, look, I got a bit of public stick because Scarlets fans are saying there's 2 teams on the field, and and I got to be honest, there wasn't for large parts of it. So I call it as I see it, as I always say. Leinster were fantastic. I admire the Scarlets. They didn't give up, and this was a lovely try. This is Costello picking apart. I liked Sam Costello. I thought Kasim did really well here because he was holding, and Blacker had to hold his depth. That was a lovely try, and it was needed straight after the sort of Levy try, just to sort of, keep them in touch. But they just give too many penalties away in that first half. They kicked the ball out twice and give Leinster these field positions. There's some nuances in these 2 tries, right? When I watched them again today, there's a bit of truck and trailer going on.
Go back to the first small try if we can, because I saw the exact same thing. It is blatant.
Yeah,
there's a bit of truck and trailer. This is clever, right? Now, Scarlets have been done by this before. They insist on putting the outside half in. There he is, in that 5-meter channel. They insist on that, right? And it's clear to me that Luke McGrath and Leinster have planned going down there. It's happened before this season, and I'd be planning to go down there. It's young Costello. Ryan Combia is a wing. He's inside. He doesn't go there. And, of course, when they get in there, they ain't going anywhere. We know this from the analysts earlier in the season.
Can we look at James Tracy here?
James Tracy?
No, James Tracy gets involved there for no good reason other than to do an American football block and open the door for his scrum half.
Do what you can. But then Scarlets, Leinster don't concede too many points, as we know, but they scored 3 tries in the end. This is a nice break. Tyler Morgan saw a mismatch with Dunn, the replacement lock, and then Sean Cronin was on the wing, and Homer, that was his first touch, goes over. So they didn't give up, and Angus O'Brien got one in the end for 3 tries. It was too little, too late. But they play so flat to the line. And this boy, Max O'Reilly,
he's unbelievable.
Just another one off the ramp, I
think it was like watching the biggest, fastest, most powerful nursery school in the world in the second half. They bring on like a 21-year-old, and you think, they can't get any younger. Here's a 14-year-old, and then next week it'll be a fetus coming on throwing a miss 4. Well, it was unbelievable. They got younger and younger and better, and
I led
Remarkable.
Hawkshaw's try, and the young boy Jamie Osborne, 19, out of the Nace club. He's not even in the academy yet. He's come through the club system, right? He every touch turned to goal. This
Yeah.
is Costello again, right? If you just go back a little bit, Ad, on the Costello thing, because he's got an eye for a pass. We got to watch this guy, Sam Costello. All right, he has got something in him, and this is the Angus O'Brien try. He's got little touches. It was too
Great
little, too
finish.
late. Like 79, it's good finish. But Leinster racked up 50 at Parc y Scarlets. You can dress it up as you want, boys. Right?
Yeah.
It's Leinster seconds against Scarlet seconds.
Yeah.
And it's 50 points. So people can say, you've got to commentate on two teams. I watched it back today because I was conscious. I've been really balanced on it. I've talked a lot about the Scarlets, how many they're missing and so on. But I've waxed lyrical about Leinster because who wouldn't in a 50-point drubbing away from home with the second team?
And also, I don't think we should shy away from bigging up Leinster when they use that academy so well. It's not like they're using their first team every week. Some of those players, I bet people from Dublin haven't seen before, especially Osborne. Right?
Well,
Nobody's seen that.
Seen Osborne.
Right? That's
And he
what I'm saying.
wasn't, and he definitely wasn't supposed to be on for over half an hour.
No, that's what I was thinking.
He was supposed to, get in, get some game time at the end of the game. Grand. He was not supposed to be out there for that long. But huge, brilliant experience for him. And also, you mentioned 52 points that Leinster put in them. 22 minutes in, Scarlets are leading that game 10-7.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's weird how many points Leinster scored quite quickly. I had in my little sort of notes thing here. Then Leinster things happened because that's what they can do. They can score very, very fast.
I think if you've got a team like that in your league, you shout about them. People do it with Barcelona. People do it with Chelsea or Man City or Liverpool, whoever it may be that year. Leinster are different class, and they deserve people to chat about them.
It's not just the points, Paul. I mean, I was saying early in commentary, I was saying to Eddie Butler, look at how quickly they recycle the ball. We've been saying it all season. Look how quick Luke McGrath has to get there to get it away. Look how flat Harry Byrne was playing to the line. Frawley was going into 10, Byrne to 12, as we saw with Ross Byrne the other week, and they were finding edges. They were sharing the load. When I looked at the stats, they've all shared the load. Ryan Baird, 22, amazing. Dan Levy, back after injury, fantastic. Conan out of the Irish squad, player of the match. They've got Peter Dooley coming. They're 22, 23, these fellas. I know they got a great system. I know it's a city club, but you have to admire them. You really do.
And I think Levy now is already at that standard where he's looking like he's test level again, isn't he? Yeah. So somebody's going to have to move again.
Omani's got to watch out. He's got guys on his tail.
Yeah, I think absolutely. He's on the trapdoor. He's the next one on the door, isn't he?
So we're going to have a little look at a couple of things from this one. Sam Costello.
Yeah, just nice touches, right? So we've put a short montage together here. This is an eye for a pass. Look, he's got three guys outside him, and he picks the right one. He does this several times in the game. So that shows a quality player. Really, really good. This is a nice one because he's getting it. That's the same one. Look how it's a little end-over-end pass.
Yeah,
he sort of faked a little bit of no look on him. This one is nicely because he squares up as a second receiver. Really good to bring Combier in. Here again, look, he picks the pass. It's the right pass across Sebastian to Lousy, and then there's an attack on. So in a game where they had very little, he created a few things. I like his goal-kicking technique. I like his attitude. So, Ewan Davis has commented that there's forced fly halves in the Scarlets. He should be at the Ospreys. Well, the Ospreys unfortunately let him go. He's a pen code boy. He's a Bridgend boy. And Leicester Tigers Academy picked him up, and he's come back to the Scarlets. So something's gone wrong there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it just goes to show how young players' careers aren't just this serial line, isn't it? Like Lee Halfpenny, really up and down, didn't work out. Costello had to leave again. Yeah. And now, having watched him and the other 3 or 4 of that age at 10, he's right up there with them. Johan Lloyd on the weekend was ridiculous, right? He was really good. Costello's at that level, and I don't know, he looks Welsh squad all the way in another 2 seasons.
Costello, you see, the difference there, mate, is Ewan Lloyd's a little bit looser. All right.
Yeah.
He's playing with all those guns around him. Costello's
That's the
picking those
thing.
passes, right? On the end of a 50-pointer against the best side in the league.
That's true.
He's
Yeah,
showing
great
up.
point.
So he put Costello in that Bristol team.
Not much Costello with Redrada or Charles Pearson outside.
Yeah,
I was going to think one of the things you look at. Now we'll go to the Max O'Reilly now.
Well, again, haven't he just got over Hugo Keenan?
No, that's the thing. And Hugo Keenan's only 23? Is he 22?
Yeah, look at this kid.
lad.
Look at this kid. He's got feet. His socks down. He looked like he just dragged him off the hurling field. But honestly,
he's the rich Matt Prothero, that lad. I'm telling you.
What he does
12
there
stone
is he comes through this with a nice little block by Dunn. But look how he takes O'Brien, takes him infield, knowing he's got a step on him, and he's able to gas away. Oh, it's ridiculous. I'm still looking for Adam Byrne. Where's he gone? Ian Kelleher, Hugo Keenan, Jimmy O'Brien. I got Leinster names coming out of my backside. It's unbelievable.
That second try, the one from the 10-yard line, the way he takes that ball and glides through the hole and then steps while remaining very upright. Yeah. And the floppy hair. I know the floppy hair has something to do with it. It's Joey Carberry.
The skinny wings. But the skinny wings are coming back, I'm telling you.
Good.
Prothero, that lad. You don't need to be 15 stone 5 to play fullback. You can be 11.5 stone. Double step is enough.
Now, Harry Byrne. Harry Byrne had a game. Harry Byrne has been having a lot of games, but he had a game.
What we picked out is one particular area because it's different, right? And we talked about the semi-Redrada thing with Bath kicking continuously to him. Have a look at Harry Byrne's restarts, right? The height he gets on them. And this is what I call nuts and bolts rugby because you're going to have restarts in the game, all right? That's a contestable kick. It's up for 4.5, 5 seconds. This is a 22. Look at it. It only goes 10, 12 meters, but they win it back. They win it back. They're contestable kicks. It's a great technique. Here's another one. Right, now it goes a bit longer, but there's so much hang time that Kelleher can get to Combia, side him down with a low chop. All right, you see it again, We've got a bit of a Norman Collier video. There's another one.
They're all contestable, aren't they?
They're all contestable, and even the longer one where Kelleher chops Combia, all Scarlets could do was kick it off the field 30 meters out. So they've gone from their restart to an attacking line. It is excellent facet to play.
Do you know one thing, and I forgot to mention it pre this pod, which I should have. But I noticed there's something Costello did as well. 2 really unusual restarts. 2, he hit long and kicked in the middle of the ball. So they went long and skidded. And he dropped out 2 about just over the 10-meter line, low and dink deliberately on the floor. So the locks had to bend down and pick it up after the bounce. And when you'd mentioned about those restarts, I thought you were going to mention those as well. It was quite weird in a match to see 2 such different styles of restarts. Like one deliberately hitting the deck and then one deliberately sort of lob wedge.
I think, mate, before we move on, if you're not paying attention to detail on your restarts, 22s halfways on your kick and their kick, if you've not got plans and ideas and innovation in those, you're not coaching properly.
Yeah,
you're not. You're seeing it as an add-on, or it's the last thing on your list, whatever. It is so important, as we saw at Bath Bristol on Friday night.
Yeah.
Right, we'll get to not coaching properly very soon. Where are we now that we've had these? We're playing catch-up rugby right now because of the various postponements. But in Conference A, Leinster, due to that win, have now vaulted over Ulster. So this is the first time Ulster have been away from top for a little while now. They got comfortable up there. But Leinster played 11, 50 points. Ulster played 11, 46 points. Good way back to Ospreys, who are looking very comfortable right now in third, 11, 27 points. Then we go to Glasgow, 10, 15. Dragons, only 9 games. They're playing catch-up over the next couple of weeks. 14 points. Zebre, bottom with 13. Into Conference B. Go on, Sean.
Yeah, I was just saying the only hope for Glasgow, they've got the Ospreys to go there, but the Ospreys play Zebra soon at home. They could be home and hose for that European spot. Sorry, Conference B.
Conference B, Munster 11 played 11-42. Connacht played 10-27. Cardiff, those extra games played, they've 12 played 26. Scarlets 12-25. Edinburgh 10-19, and Benetton back, but looking a little bit. At least we have hope now. We have hope back in the system with Benetton, 5 points. Couple of. Do you know what? Let's go. Let's do the coaching thing. Guinness Pro 14, Coach of the Month. Right, this is something new. We have not done this before. So, with support from Loch Lomond Whiskies, Pro 14 Rugby have launched a Coach of the Month award, beginning with the selection of the best coach for the month of January 2020. There's a driving spirit behind every great team, and like every Loch Lomond award-winning single malt, a coach leads a team to victory, displaying key characteristics such as passion, innovation, inspiration, teamwork, and spirit. So we want you to vote for the coach that has best displayed these characteristics by getting the best out of their team, delivering a winning combination that leads to excellence. Now, the good bit, each winning coach, while this award goes on, will receive a bespoke bottle of Loch Lomond 18-year-old with a personalised plaque complete with their name, club, and date. I'd be very happy with that.
Holly wants back in.
The whiskey is a combination of different spirit styles brought together to deliver a full-bodied single malt that has the characteristic hints of fruit and spice found in Loch Lomond single malt. There is one of those 18-year-old bottles. Can I just say for the record, producer and anyone listening, I cannot comment yet on Loch Lomond, and I look forward to being able to comment.
Shameless. And that's coming from me.
Yes.
But you know what, Ant? You know what, right? This is the sort of thing that would get me back coaching in the Pro 14. And I'm not talking about just drinking Loch Lomond whiskey, but having the accolade. Do you know? Because there can only be one winner at the end of the year, right? And there'll be a coach of the year. But do you know what? Like we just had Andy Friend on, and a couple of the nominees have had real good months. You hit purple patches, you have highs and lows. So I think the recognition is one thing. It's really, the coach will get one of these specially engraved to keep. I think they get the 18-year-old. Do they 18-year-old Loch Lomond? Blend. Honestly, I'm one of these guys. You know me.
I'm reading the small print. I believe that the people of the Under the Six podcast have to do a whiskey tasting, and we decide what they get after that.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's great at Loch Lomond, and if I was coaching now, I'd be absolutely delighted to be nominated and a chance to win one of these. I think it'd be something really special.
Can I go through who is nominated?
Get him up,
and then let's get in. So, friend of the pod, Andy Friend. See what I did there?
He's got to be nominated there just for that Leinster win. As far as I'm concerned, that's enough. You don't even have to say any more than that. I mean, of course you can. I just think the way they play, talking about skill in making something, that the way that team plays is very balanced. It looks like I'm trying to put whiskey metaphors in here. No, I'm not. They play a very balanced game. Forwards, the backs, they play. I think it's some of the most attractive rugby in the league, other than Leinster, and not many can compete with them. So I think Andy Friend's well worthy of his nomination.
Okay, that's candidate number one. Candidate number two. We've already talked about him indirectly. Sean, Leo Cullen.
Yeah, Leo Cullen is an obvious choice, but I think we need to remember that this is the coach of the month. All right, so Gerard YNWA here says Leo. It's an oxymoron here, isn't it? It's coach of the month, Leo Cullen, unbeaten for 21 months away. Hang on, it's coach of the month, right? So they've lost one in this month. All right. But having said that, I take Gerard's point. Leo has done a superb job. We've just waxed lyrical about Leinster without all the internationals. The job that he's doing, yes, he's blessed with having lots of talent coming through, but you still have to manage that talent. You still have to select the right teams, and I think their preparation if you want an analogy with Loch Lomond whiskey, to win awards and get the right blend, then you have to have that right blend in a rugby team as well. And Leo Cullen does that with all those riches that he has, and he gets it right. 99% of the time. There was a blip in Connacht, but we praise Connacht for that. So Leo Cullen is a worthy nominee for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
It is kind
absolutely.
of it's a hard one though, because with any very like a highly successful team in every league, like we talked about it earlier on, you do celebrate them, and we should celebrate them, because you're getting into something which in a different context you'd be saying, oh, this is the Leinster dynasty or whatever, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But it does mean that the job that the overall head coach does, Paul, can kind of be lost, because we go, well, sure, anyone, like, Andy McGeady could manage them and they'd win.
Do you know, I think it's something Sean mentioned about a month ago, that balancing a team of stars like that is a nightmare, because they all want to play. And how do you manage the game time when you've got so many? He's probably got 25 backs that he can pick from with no real discernible drop in quality.
But it's the blend, isn't it, mate?
Absolutely.
Blend of players. So you think now you've got Saturday night, Harry, Byrne and Frawley, both 10s, but they blended well together and complemented one another,
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's and like you say about the dynasty, I like dynasty sort of teams in any sport, Chicago Bulls, whatever it might be. I love Federer, and I love the fact that Leinster are a dynasty. I'm into that. If they can win 6 in a row, bring it on.
Yeah, cool.
I'm still going to say dynasty. Michael Bradley makes the list despite the jinxing effect of Paul Williams.
No, poor bloke. You wait to Connacht now; they won't win another game. Yeah, I think Zebra are probably the outside bet, right? If you said that out of those 4, they'd say, "Oh, why didn't they?" They beat Treviso twice, right? They should have beaten Edinburgh. Were it not for me saying that, they probably would have. I think what they're doing down there with an awful lot less resources than virtually everyone in that league. He's got a handful of very good young players coming through. He's doing a really good job with Fischetti, who we seem to mention every minute of this pod, and I will not stop doing it. I think just beating Treviso twice, that's their season. They'd have been really pleased with that. They've had a great month, and it's great for the league. So I think they're thoroughly deserving of that nomination. Or
I think you're right, mate. To go back to back against Benetton, they showed a lot of passion in those games, to be fair.
Absolutely.
And Bradley's a big part of bringing that passion to Zebra, I think.
Yeah.
I have to bring in a James O'Brien comment. This is live fact check at work. I think Andy has lost a year due to COVID, because he did say it was the January 2020 award.
That's right.
Or else the lack of Loch Lomond 18-year-old whiskey has diminished my mental faculties. I'll go with that one.
He's a bottle in.
Keep me sharp. The 4th candidate for the inaugural Loch Lomond Coach of the Month award. We mentioned him earlier on. Toby Booth. Sean.
Yeah, worthy nominee again. I think he had it tough at the start, and that's perhaps where you do see a quality coach, is that we've seen a transition, we've seen a development, and Toby Booth is bringing in a combination of that passion that we talked about, but he's getting his selection right, and he's been helped by playing some young players that he's bringing through. Kieran Williams has been fantastic at 12, but I've been impressed with Wyn Griffiths, who's been playing at 6, Rhys Davies at 2nd row, he's been back in them, Rodri Jones, his form has gone through the roof. He's gone back in the Welsh Six Nations squad. So I think that counts for a lot. And if we go back to, it's the Coach Award of the month. So January 2021, only the Ospreys have not lost in the Guinness Pro 14 in January. They've won 3 out of 3, and all were away from home. So if that is part of the criteria, then Toby Booth is right up there to be selected. So we got people voting for this, so we need to illustrate the criteria is for the month,
Yeah, you are right.
It's based on their performances, based on their coaching in terms of, are they bringing passion to their team? Are they picking the right blend of players? Are they showing some innovation like we've shown in some of our analysis tonight? And I think all aspects of that are in our 4 nominees, but some more than others. It's up to the listeners.
Yeah, I am all for including style points, definitely. But yes, how do people get involved? So you guys have both given a bit of an illustration of 2 candidates each. So Toby Booth, Leo Cullen, Michael Bradley, and Andy Friend. You can vote on the Guinness Pro 14 social channels from tomorrow. And the winner tomorrow being Tuesday, we're recording on Monday night as always, and the winner will be announced on Friday. I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this a lot because regular chats where we can talk about whiskey also, it's right up my street. I'm very happy.
I want Sean to say blend again.
Well, look, I think we've done all for a good service there.
Yeah, we have.
We haven't shown any bias. We've just these are the criteria, they're the reasons why they've been nominated. Over to you guys now, but let's use your heads on it.
Yeah.
There's a few comments coming in. Harley Worthy Booth, surely for how he's turned Ospreys around, especially in the dismantling over Cardiff and beating Cardiff away. He meant Connacht away. Ian Gilbert, one word, friend. Matthew O'Brien, Michael Bradley, he's given Zebra such confidence. Yeah, I mean, having 2 local derbies turning over Bennett
We've got 2 for Bradley. In fact, you've got to read Howell Davis says. The first bit's the most important. I concur with Paul. Nothing else matters, right? On this show, we could have had Andy Friend on, new sponsor. This is the best thing. Finally,
go for beers together after COVID.
Those little. The little time where someone says, "What would you tweet to make people know that you're in trouble and you've been kidnapped?"
Yeah, I agree with Paul.
Someone send the cops round to Howell Davis' house. Something's very wrong.
Oh, dear.
We'll whip on. So get involved, folks. This is just the lad's point of view. It's my point of view, but let's see what we can do now. So this is the Loch Lomond Whiskies inaugural Pro 14 Coach of the Month competition. So get involved on the Pro 14 socials. Voting will open on Tuesday. Winner announced on Friday. First time ever that the championship has done this. Let's give it a good start. This is going to be good. Looking forward to this. So we'll hit a few things. We've got a game coming up this weekend. Another more catch-up rugby. Dragons against Connacht, 7:35 p.m. Friday night. That's in Rodney Parade. Yeah, bonus rugby.
That could be a good game too, actually.
Yeah. Again, Dragons have been playing some decent stuff.
Yeah, if we can get a tiny bit of dry weather, that's the thing with those.
Yeah.
If we can't have rain, then that could be a good game.
I was going to say, haven't the Pro 14 done well in getting these fixtures in? When I looked at the tables there, all of a sudden we're starting to get played 11, 10, it's brilliant. Sneaking them in, but the teams are ready to go. Accredited the teams as well. So that's a good one. And it's in isolation. So we got the Six Nations, but I think we can all look forward to that one now.
Yeah,
I am completely in favor of having, games around the Six Nations as long as they're not literally at the same time as the games.
Same as me.
This is good. A couple of other things that happened this week. Some signings. We talked about coaching signings. Friend Gustard Massey. Leonie Nakarawa signs for Ulster.
Naughty.
No.
I'm very sorry, Glasgow people. I know we've got at least one in the comment section tonight, but my God, if you're from Ulster, that softens the blow, Paul, of losing Cutter.
Do you know what, though? It's a very different signing. I know in terms of level of just rugby joy, for the neutral, it's like, oh my God, you're getting rid of Cutter and you're getting Nakarawa. That's amazing. But they're very different players, Nakarawa, I know he can carry the ball, but he's not going to carry it up 12 times and get 5 yards every single time. So it'll be an adjustment of playing style, but it'd be an amazing addition to the squad.
It's a kick in the nuts with Danny Wilson, though, isn't it?
It's awful. I know.
No,
I don't know.
I'm just putting him back. He's been shown a second row through one thing and another. And now Nakarawa's off.
Will he play lock or will he play back row? Because he's been
bit of
signed as a
everything.
back row, and in the Irish system, folks, that's important.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think he could play him at 6 or 8. Yeah,
6, 8.
yeah.
Because if you remember Scott Fardy signed as a lock, and there would have been war if Leinster had tried to play him too much at 6, because again, in the Irish system, you have to be signed. If you're a foreign, non-Irish qualified player, you can't mess about if you're signed for one position, because you're actually allowed to sign them based on who else in the country is available at that position.
Yeah.
Having said that, can you imagine Ian Henderson and Nakarawa at lock, both firing?
That'd be a good blend. Do you know what is really cruel though, as well, is that adds to the list of massive stars that Glasgow probably aren't going to replace like for like.
It's a killer.
If you had an insurance policy with Direct Line and they'd give you a like for like, that is not going to happen, is it? Stuart Hogg's gone, Gray's gone, now he's gone. They are players. Adam Hastings, they are 300,000, 400,000 pound a year sort of players, aren't they? More than that, probably 500. So yeah, it's tricky. It's a big blow for Glasgow.
For anyone listening back on the podcast, we're saying this while Adam is playing a load of brilliant highlights from the career of Nakarawa for Glasgow. There's currently a load of Glasgow fans just in tears.
Crying, just drinking, necking Loch Lomond.
He is. I think when he first was at Glasgow, the offload stats were completely skewed.
Yeah.
He was way different. We're just watching an offload highlights really, and it's always left hand. Like something.
Yeah.
Well,
I've never seen a player hold the ball like a tic tac. It looks like it's a tic tac in his hand. It doesn't look full size, does it? Size on his mitts.
It's funny, isn't he?
It's funny you say that about the stats, because he single-handedly destroys the rest of the league stats. It's the same. It's almost like when Babe Ruth came into baseball, started hitting home runs properly. He was hitting more home runs than whole teams. And Nakarawa, he offloads more than entire teams. It is
the season.
Insane.
I think I remember looking at it, and I think he'd offloaded nearly twice the amount of one team that season on his own.
Yeah, that'd be right.
I can't remember who it was. Somebody like Edinburgh, maybe.
So as the absolute neutrals, which we are always, yes, Nakarawa still in the league. Good thing for the Guinness Pro 14. Very happy.
Phone call to Wilson this week, I think.
Yeah. Send him up a bottle of Loch Lomond.
Yeah, exactly. Quiet point. Extensions for Rob Herring and Ian Madigan. They're they shouldn't go under the radar. That's important. You keep those lads around. Right, there is Six Nations this weekend. We're kind of running out of time, so we're not going to go there. And we don't have team news because this is Monday. We'll have loads to talk about next week. But I'm sure we all know Saturday, Italy against France. France heavy favourites for that game. Saturday, late afternoon, England healthy favourites against Scotland. Sunday, Wales against narrow favourites Ireland. We'll see how this all goes. Comments. We've had loads of activity in the comments section.
Brilliant. It's been brilliant. We've got a great bunch.
Fantastic. Harley Worthy. Saw a Wales team that Sean suggested and think it makes a lot of sense. If Alan Wynne-Jones isn't fit, who replaces him in second row and as captain?
So very quickly, I've just gone for the caveat I used when this newspaper asked me was that I'm having to pick a team that Wayne Pivac has picked the squad. So I'm picking from his squad. There may be some guys outside the squad that I would pick. But anyway, I'm feeling that we got so many guys in there that need to play because they haven't had game time, and we need to surround them with players who are in form and have played a lot of rugby. So, for example, I'd like to see Owen Watkin at 12 with Jonathan Davis at 13. I think Owen Watkin's more of a 12. I'd like to see Adam Beard in the second row. He's playing really well in a winning Ospreys team. We've got an Island Maul to worry about, so him alongside Alan Wynne, who needs game time. If Alan Wynne's not fit, probably Jake Ball is the guy who's had the most rugby, or Will Rowlands would come in. I don't know. Back row, Lydiard probably, if he's in the squad, has to play just because he's played the most and he's on form and he can complement Falatau and Tipperick. Tipperick would be captain for me if if Alan Wynne wasn't fit, but you might give it to Jonathan Davis. The 9 is a contentious one, but I'd probably go with Thomas Williams based on the Derby performances. He just edged it over Gareth. He'd have to go halfpenny in 15. We haven't really got anyone else. George North and Josh Adams playing on form. Bigger steadies the ship with Jared Evans to come on. I think Ken Owens has got to play. He needs game time, but he put Wynne Jones and Thomas Francis, who've been playing alongside them. So that's basically justified my, we know what we're up against. And Wales are, yes, trying to develop for the future, but we have to start this tournament well. Yeah. By hook or by crook, get some sort of win. A 10-9 would do, a 9-8 would do, just to get some momentum and winning feeling in us. Otherwise, it could be a long Six Nations.
I think you're right. And just one little point. Unlike Ireland, I don't think Wales have got the luxury of being able to transition yet properly. They've got to start winning games right now. And in that sense, you are looking at players like Jake Ball. I know he's going to be going home, but if you want to win, they need a bit of weight in there against Ireland. So get him in.
All right. Next up, Chiefs Girl. This refers back earlier to the Andy Friend conversation. Morning, everyone. Quick question. Considering the weather is so crap up north, why don't more teams have indoor stadiums? I don't think we've any.
They're expensive.
There's one and it's in Paris, and it costs a lot of money.
And the Millennium.
The
Principality. Yeah. But they cost a lot of money, don't they?
Look at this is a newbie. Reviewy McReview face.
We like him. Yeah.
Hello from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. New to rugby union. Think I'm partial to the Scarlets, even though we can't see the matches live much of the time. Glad I found your podcast. Learning lots.
Great.
There's a weight of responsibility on our shoulders.
Somebody I can corrupt. Give me a follow on Twitter. I'll take it on the dark side.
Oh, there he goes.
Rian Thranapol. Hi, guys. What did you think of the Currie Cup final? Bulls all the way. Lightning strike for anyone who wasn't watching.
I've got that to watch because I was watching it. Then the lightning came and then I turned it off. It was so strange. It was, lightning was 7 miles away. Game called off, understandably. It was 3-3, I think, when it was kicked off. Really penalty heavy early first 10 minutes. But the one thing I noticed, how fit Vermeulen looks. He looks trim. So I'm looking forward to seeing him when he comes up north.
Well, did you see Jakob Piper's comment?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said to the young scrum half, was it, Ant?
Yeah.
You have a lot of advice for your first Currie Cup final.
Shut up.
Yeah, very funny because the commentators picked it up real fast and actually started laughing before they told. It was just very, very good.
A lot of advice for your first Currie Cup. That's really good.
Matthew O'Brien, not to take anything away from Harry Byrne, he's very talented, but doesn't the talent really come out when you pair the player with another talented player?
Yeah, I was saying about Frawley playing a 12 with him. Really complimented. And also, Harry plays so flat, and that's because Leinster recycle the ball so quickly. He's almost able to get close to the gain line before the defence is recovered. They're the best in the league at that. But he's big and he's strong and he's fizzing passes. Doesn't go right all the time. He's still got a lot to learn. I'd like to see him move into that position a bit more. I think he'd be more of a threat himself then. The Scarlets came up on the outside eye line to spook him back inside, which worked a little bit. But he's got talent for sure.
There was another funny one in that game as well. There was a clip going around of a tackle on Harry Byrne. Was it? Yeah, first half. And there was a bit of a tip, but it was weird because Harry Byrne's got very dark hair. And he's got quite a lot right now. And then he was also wearing a dark sleeve guard. So it looked as if he landed on his head, and he didn't. But it just always shows you don't immediately grab the clip you see flying across saying this is a disgrace. It's not always as clean as it looks first time. Ewan Davis. Paul, do you want to expand in your comments on Byrne comparing him to Itoje? I hate England, but Itoje is the best lock in the world. Can't compare Byrne yet. Sorry, hold on. Laughing emoji.
I need to clear this up, right? Do you know what? On Facebook, I answered about 25 people individually, right, in the comments. It took me about an hour. What I said was that Tag Byrne isn't the equal of Itoje, but I said in terms of being a big, tall player over 6'5", There are very few who can jackal as effectively as those two at that height without getting removed. So all I did was compare them of guys who are 6'5", 6'6", who can jackal without getting removed once they've parked over the ball. But I think the headline was Byrne is the equivalent of Itoje. But that isn't what I said. So yeah, it was only in relation to jackling on the floor. So there's my answer.
Okay,
Not
so
getting
basically,
Not getting involved.
no.
There aren't many guys that height who can jackal like that, are there? There it is. Not with the headline. I didn't write the headline.
So I think that's it. That is a wrap for tonight. Thank you very much to Andy Friend for a great chat at the start. So if you joined us late, go back. He was just great. Thank you, Sean Halley. Thank you, Paul Williams. Thank you, Adam Redmond. Thank you, Loch Lomond Whiskies, for our new Coach of the Month award. Looking forward to that every month. Thank you to all of you who've given us your time either live tonight as we record on Monday or afterwards on a podcast, getting out for your socially distant walk or doing the ironing. No, we don't do ironing anymore because we wear t-shirts. That was Under the Sticks, brought to you by Pro 14 Rugby. My name is Andy McGeady. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.